What's up guys, I'm Lee Morse with fstoppers.com. I recently got my hands on the new iPhone X, and today we're going to be comparing this phone's video features to our most favorite video camera currently, the Panasonic GH5. I've made a few videos like this in the past, comparing the video footage out of an iPhone to a more professional camera, and so many people get angry when we do it, and they say nobody uses a phone for professional video, why even do this test? Well, the truth is we use our phones to film a lot, and we use it for very big, expensive projects. We recently did an ad for the new Fuji GFX with Eli Liccardi. We kind of flew around the United States filming with him. A lot of the footage that we used in that commercial, which is being played all over the place, was actually shot with a much older iPhone than this. All right, so let's get to these video comparisons. So take a look at some of these clips. These were all shot in 4K, 24 frames per second, and see if you can figure out, is A the iPhone or is B the iPhone? The A camera is the footage straight out of the iPhone. Now, the reason that you probably like the iPhone is because it has a really vibrant color profile baked right in. We shoot a little bit more flat with the GH5, which gives us some options, but this footage that you've actually seen has been tweaked. I've tried to bump the contrast and bump the color of the GH5 to get it to match just a little bit. Everybody in the office actually preferred the look of the iPhone as well. Now, that may have more to do with my lack of color grading skills, but I thought it was very, very interesting. Now, if you zoom into the footage, you will start to see that the GH5 does have the advantage. The lens is better, the sensor is better, and you're also going to notice that there are a lot less artifacts, meaning that the bit rate is a lot higher on the GH5 as well. Now, moving on to 4K at 60 frames per second, you can see that I'm getting some really nice slow motion from both cameras, but you'll once again notice that the footage out of the iPhone does have quite a vibrant, punchy look to it. I really like the way that it looks. Moving on now to 120 frames per second at 1080p. Again, I was really blown away with how well the iPhone X did. I did not think the footage would look this good. Again, zooming in is going to show that the GH5 does have the better bitrate, it does have the better image quality, but man, it's very close. And for a lot of what we do, especially YouTube work, I don't think you're going to be able to tell any difference at all. Now, I filmed a few other scenes in 4K at 24 frames per second, and I just wanted to see kind of what the iPhone would do in very strange lighting conditions, in like really contrasty light or shady light or direct sunlight, and I was getting some very interesting results, especially when you compare it to the GH5. Probably the most interesting result was me shooting this brick wall here. This is pretty much what it looked like. This is shot with the GH5 right here, and then this is what the iPhone made it look like. I tried to do so much in Premiere to make it look this punchy with the GH5 footage, and I couldn't come close. And this is really interesting because to me, this doesn't even look like the same wall at all, but believe it or not, this is the exact same wall. It's almost like it's raising the contrast and then bringing back the shadows if you were accustomed to Photoshop or Lightroom. Now, our favorite reason to use an iPhone for video is with a gimbal. It's so much easier to travel with a small iPhone gimbal and not have to balance anything than it is to travel with a large gimbal for our GH5 and have to spend time balancing everything. And what we did was we balanced the GH5 with the iPhone on top of it, and we got some footage at 4K, 24 frames per second of me walking towards the camera and away from the camera. Now, with the iPhone 7, we have had some issues with the optical stabilization kind of acting up when it's on a gimbal. It almost makes it look like the camera is kind of focusing in and out, even though it's not when you're moving steady on a gimbal forward or backward, and it can wreck the footage. I'm happy to say maybe we saw a little bit of jitter with the iPhone X, but it was not bad at all. When David starts running after me, I was really impressed with how smooth the footage was. Now, if you're not familiar with the GH5 has some of the best in-camera stabilization we have ever seen, and so if you compare the iPhone X's footage to the GH5, there's almost no comparison on the gimbal. I don't know that any camera currently on the market could be as smooth as the GH5 on a gimbal. Now, for the final test, we did an ISO comparison. We went into a very dimly lit room. I stepped into frame and turned on the television. The GH5 does not have the best ISO performance itself, but the iPhone X is significantly worse, as you probably have guessed. So the moral of the story is, guys, you can definitely get professional video quality out of an iPhone 10 or even an older iPhone for that matter, but you do need substantial light. If you're in a dimly lit room, you're going to want to reach for a professional video camera. But there's a few things that a professional video camera simply cannot do.